Welcome back, everyone, to a brand new tactical review. This time, it's the turn of Rangers and manager Philippe Clement, Belgian former centre back. Don't know too much about him, to be perfectly honest. Not even of his time at Rangers. I know he's kind of early playing career. Played a lot in Belgium. I think Beerschot, Club Bruges, I believe. Spell of Coventry, I think, as well. So I think obviously from then he went to management. Again, kind of trading kind of Belgium, I think. Had a spell in Monaco before being appointed Rangers manager last October, I believe, replacing the departing Michael Beale, who incidentally came to Sunderland, I think. And yeah, we all know how that ended. So, like you say, we're going to look at his style of play. 4-2-3-1 is his kind of formation. Like I said before, it seems to be a kind of a formation favoured by kind of young, kind of European managers these days. I know one myself, I've done at Sunderland. I think the other one, kind of West Brom, and Carlos Corberán. So yeah, 4-3-2-1. I think that sometimes kind of drops into almost a 4-4-2, depending on whether they kind of press him or kind of operating like a mid-block. So we'll deep dive into it. I'll show you how it got on with Rangers, kind of emulating his tactic. We'll look at kind of the league, see how it performed in Football Manager, the match engine. Probably a little bit too well, I think, bizarrely, if that makes sense. But we'll see, and I'll show you what I mean. But you can see it's a 4-2-3-1. You can see it quite common. Done a few of those, but I think there's always variations and slight differences in when we do these certain player roles as well. Kind of make it unique to others. So, like you see, I'll show you a few kind of highlights. We'll look at the stats of what I got out of this and talk about what I wanted out of the tactic, how I see Rangers play and what I want to see in Football Manager, how I could maybe recreate that. And then look at the tactic, discuss player roles, obviously team instructions, things like that. So let's jump right into it. So a quick look at kind of stat-wise. He scored the most goals in this league, 109. Hence why I said it was maybe a little bit too good. I don't know. You tell me. Is it, does that suit Rangers? Rangers' style of play. 109 goals. More shots, again, ourselves. Fewest conceded as well, which is kind of something I wanted to emulate. Kind of straight off the bat, what I want to kind of achieve with Rangers was a lot of wide play, very aggressive, but still with an element of kind of defensive stability. I think that kind of sums up maybe Clement's style of play as well. Like you say, aggressive when needs be, but defensively minded as well. I think. And I don't mean this disrespectfully to anyone else in the league, any other teams, but I think when you're one of the top two in the league, you can afford to be a bit more aggressive. You can afford to maybe dominate games more. There's maybe not as many teams going to cause you too many problems. If you have the kind of the right players, the right mentality, the right structure. So that's what I was trying to achieve. Like I say, we've gone kind of average possession as well, 60%. Probably what you expect again from a top two club. So that's what I want to try and emulate with Rangers. Wide play. Use of the kind of wide men, but defensively sound as well. Like you say, high scoring, but not letting goals into the back. So I thought I achieved that there. Like I say, I think I probably overacted it a little bit. I do try and make it, as much as I'm trying to recreate a tactic, I do want it to be Football Manager friendly as well. So maybe someone can pick this up and enjoy a Rangers save themselves. Maybe with this tactic, or give them ideas how they maybe want to play in their save. So that's what I do this for. And like I say, maybe a good time as well just to ask, if you're enjoying these. I've done a few of these now and they are getting received really well. Please drop a like, subscribe if you can. It really is helping the channel. Everyone's getting down in the comments, offering me suggestions for saves coming up. And yeah, really enjoying these. So it'd be nice to continue a few more, certainly on to FM25. So a few stats I want to show you from the Data Hub themselves as well, just to kind of talk about, how I wanted the mentality of this Rangers team to be. First one, kind of possession loss. It's always kind of a good thing to have a look at. Again, we lose it quite high up the pitch, kind of after our own halfway line. I kind of get that in a kind of a 4-2-3-1. I think it's fairly common. If you can achieve that, I think you're somewhere near to having kind of a good, kind of solid defence. If you're not losing it in your own half, it shows that you're at least getting out your own half, progressing up the pitch. And the majority of the time, you're losing it higher up, which I'm happy with. Always what I try and aim for. Possession gained, again, we get a possession kind of within that our own half, but deep in our own half. Sorry, higher up in our own half, should I say. That's probably coming down to maybe the centre of the midfielders, the two DMs, protecting that kind of back line. So looks like as though they're doing the job, closing down, winning that ball back before, the defence has to kind of make become active, to be honest. So again, happy with that. Defensive efficiency, looking at this, here, quiet defence and impenetrable. Exactly doing his job, exactly what I want to know. When you're attack minded and you can create something like this, I think, it's exactly what makes the tactic work, I think, anyway. And I think, to be honest, again, trying not to be too disrespectful, but in the league Rangers are in the SPL, I think there's not too many teams that can really cause them problems. Maybe outside of but you probably class as the top 5, maybe your Celtic, your Hibs, your Hearts, maybe. So they kind of thought to be a bit more aggressive, and if they can get that defensive side right, then it's a win-win tactic. And I think we're finishing second majority of the time. Obviously probably somewhere behind Celtic at the moment. I think in terms of kind of being up there challenging for the title. But like I say, there's not going to be too many teams going to cause them too many problems. So shooting, again, aggressive shooting and very clinical. So if I've got a good, nice, compact defence, having to kind of obviously defend very little, then I've also got an aggressive shooting kind of set of forwards up front there. It's a perfect balance. It's going to create almost the perfect tactic. Not quite. So attacking wise, 2.87 goals per game in this save here. Shots per game 15. Pass completion ratio is really high as well. Great to see, 87.47. I think they probably are a team they are quick, direct. I think they're quite compact. So the passing, again, like I say, is meaningful. Although there might be a bit of passing into space to the wings, they're getting there and they're making those passes. Those passes are getting made. Like I say, great to see. Really happy with that as well. Team defending, conceded less than a goal a game. And like I say, when you see the fixture list for Rangers, I've kind of simulated through the season, prepared this tactic, and it was insane. 17 clean sheets throughout the season's great as well. Really happy with that. But there was times when the games were coming thick and fast, and it was crazy. And to do what we've done, I think, with this kind of save, not doing the training, things like that, I think the outcome was fantastic, better than I expected. Possession wise, not winning the ball as much, but we are reliable in possession when we get it. And passing, then we're in the kind of zone of lots of passes and accurate passing. Exactly what I was mentioning before. Exactly what I'm aiming for. Like I say, couple that with a good solid defence, good accurate shooting when the ball is in those areas to shoot, and you're making those passes as well. Like I say, no wonder this tactic kind of worked so well. But like I say, maybe a little bit too well. So competition-wise then, with Rangers here, we were runners-up in the Premier Sports Cup. A little bit unfortunate. I think I was still mid-tweak with the tactic there at that point, trying to get the Rangers style. But we won the Scottish Cup. Really happy with that, with a 6-0 thrashing in the final. And Europa League, quarter-final by Spurs, over two, beaten twice over 2 legs. Again, not too disappointing, and that probably saw me off how FM perceives Tottenham in this game, maybe. I'm not sure real life at the moment, the way they're kind of going on. But Champions League, knocked out by Porto. Like I say, I was kind of mid-tweak in that stage in the Champions League. The Premier League, the Cinch Premier League, Premiership, couldn't quite pip Celtic, pushing them all the way. High goal difference of them. Lost behind them by a point. I think it came out in the last 3 games. I think they beat us with about 3 games to go in the league and just pipped us, just overtook us. But you see certainly there, 12 assists, just a few little things there. Play of the matches, we have people in the top 3. Bajrami, Tavernier, and Cherney. Jack Butler there, clean sheets as well, 15. Great to see. Other than that, I think, that's probably about it, I think. But not one of the top scorers, but not too disheartened with that, and I'll show you why. 38 games played overall. We won 28, exactly the same as Celtic. Drew 5. They drew 6. We lost 1 more than them. We scored 109 goals, which we already knew. Conceded only 31. Goal difference of 78 and 89 points. All in all, not a bad season. Like I say, I think with a bit of in-game management, if you from the football manager point of view, you could have made this, I think, a triple winning kind of tactic, if you like, in season. Like I say, I wasn't doing training schedules. I'm not sure how good the assistant manager was resting players. Certainly in those crazy there was one game where I think I played a match on the Thursday European, and then there was the league game on the Saturday. and I think I lost it. So that probably says to me the system manager was probably just chucking players in that were, absolutely shattered. So from a football manager point of view, probably fantastic, and I certainly think you could get a lot out of this tactic if you wanted to kind of bring this into a football manager save. Certainly before Football Manager 25 comes out. So all in all, really happy with how this performed, but we'll dive into the tactic now, then I'll show you how it performed in the match engine, and let's see if we've managed to recreate that Rangers style. So here we are then. Philippe Clement, he's 4-2-3-1. Talk through this player roles, team instructions as well. So like I said before, what I want to kind of recreate with this, in my eyes, I think Rangers are kind of like a wide playing team, but I think although they look for the wide men, wide areas, I still think they're quite compact. I don't think they kind of stretch the play too much. I think they are quite narrow, hence the kind of good possession, good passing, kind of accurate passing as well. I think, like I say, they're a passing team like to get the ball up the field quickly. Not so much, quite direct, although they like to play off from the back. I think they've got the ball, the defenders, to do that. Bring the ball forward, everyone moving forward with them, and then looking for those kind of wide men. Obviously, kind of Taverniers, Yilmaz. I think there's normally someone else that plays left back at times as well. Just trying to think of his name there now. Jeffy, I think, has probably played a few games this season. So you've got kind of aggressive wing backs, aggressive attacking midfielders as well, kind of inverted winger and Matondo, and obviously kind of Cherney as well. And obviously attacking midfielder and Lawrence. And I think, like you say, looking to give it to them wide men, get up that kind of pitch, and like you say, create havoc almost. So that's what I'm trying to create. Certainly utilising that kind of wide style of play. So I'll go through the team instructions, and that'll kind of set the scene, I think, for the reason why I've chose the player instructions. So positive mentality. I'm going for attacking with fairly narrow. Like I said, although we don't like to utilise the wide areas, I still think that sometimes they are fairly narrow as a team. So going for fairly narrow, pass into space. Like say, once that ball's kind of won, you're looking for kind of, like say, release those wide players to run onto. Like say, get the ball to the pitch, launch counter attacks, and create chances, score goals. So to that end, then a focus play down the left and right. Like I say, when a 4-2-3-1, it tends to be the case that your wide men are either your main outlets for providing goals or scoring goals. And I think in this case, maybe a little bit of both at times, but certainly they are the main attacking threat for those wide areas. I didn't put our play off from defence. I don't think they can say they're a kind of team that likes to knock the ball around the back, although we've gone for ball playing defenders, and they are more than capable of bringing the ball out, and I think they do. I think what they then do is, like say, everyone pushes up, and what they're looking to do is make those passes to the, like I said before, the wide areas, wing backs, or your wide men, and your inverted kind of your wingers. So that was the idea behind that. So on that end, I'm going for shorter passing and slightly higher tempo, work ball in the box, and having those kind of game wide men, very aggressive style, run at defence. So that kind of completes the kind of in possession tactics. Like I say, compact, looking to get the ball at the wide areas, passing to space for the wide men to run onto, utilising those wing backs, those inverted wingers on attack. Shorter, crisp, efficient passing, higher pace, work ball in the box, and run at defence. In transition then, it's a gegenpress, of course it is, it's counter-press, counter, distribute the centre-backs, they are going to be my main outlet, and take short kicks. Out of possession then, I've gone for that high press. I think, again, it's maybe not as, it's not as aggressive as it probably makes out. And I'll explain that probably the play instructions a bit more, but I've got higher press, high defensive line. Like I say, I think Rangers are a team that can pull this off. Like I say, due to the league that they're in, I think they are going to dominate the majority of the games they play. Europe may be slightly different, and as I'll probably speak about in a bit as well, I think they sometimes do drop back to that mid-block, which they do very efficiently. I think it was Ross County this season, I think they beat 6-0. You know, from what I've seen on the highlights, it looked as though they may be operating a more mid-block with a really aggressive counter-attacking style coming from that. So can mix it up, but we've opted for the kind of the high press and the high defensive line. Trigger press much more often, prevent short goalkeeper distribution, get stuck in, and step up more. Follows the instructions on that. So we start with kind of the play instructions. Butland, sweeper keeper and support. Like you say, keepers these days have to be a sweeper keeper style. Pretty straightforward. Take more risks as a standard PI. Now, moving on to kind of, we've got the centre backs. So I've gone for 2 ball playing defenders. See, I think that is the case. I think they're more than capable of kind of performing that duty, whoever they play. I think they get the majority of the balls, and like you say, they're looking to kind of progress into midfield area, more than capable of doing so, with utility DMs kind of pushing up ahead of them. And like you say, what they tend to do then in these areas, looking to play out wide, set the wide men away. Like I say, look for opportunities, just kind of launch that attacking phase of play in my eyes. So very straightforward, 2 ball playing defenders, simply on tackle harder, nothing else, no other PIs. Very straightforward. Moving on to the wider men then, Tavernier. I think I had to go for him as a complete wing back on attack. Yeah, kind of like, I don't think I've ever known a player in that position score so many goals. I know he probably takes penalties, free kicks, etc. Got a lot of set piece specialists, but like I say, he's just like, yeah, he has to be aggressive, has to be taking shots, trying to get goals. And I think this season I had him 15 goals, 4 assists. I'd like to see more assists from him, I think, but maybe I had him too aggressive. But like I say, I think 14 of them were penalties. 13 scored. Yeah, so definitely the kind of main set piece taker. But look at his history. I mean, he's a known goal scorer, kind of 10, 16, 9, 12, 14 at one point, all from that kind of position. It's pretty impressive, to be quite honest. So I've got him as complete wing back on attack, maybe slightly aggressive, shoot more often, tackle harder, just to kind of, I think he's that kind of centre back, likes to have a shot, likes to have a go. I think it's even in his player traits, gets forward whenever possible, shoots with power, curls ball, etc., etc. So yeah, I kind of maybe push him a bit too far, but that's how I see him. Moving over to Yilmaz on the left. Just opting for a wing back on support on this one. Shoot less often, tackle harder. Like I say, I think with Tavernier as a complete wing back, I think he is always looking to kind of drop into these kind of spaces. No doubt he will make runs round as well. Look to kind of cut inside here as well. And obviously, he likes to have a shot. Perfect opportunity for that. Like I say, with wing backs, certainly in a 4-2-3-1, I don't think they're necessarily always there to look for an overlap. And I think certainly with the inverted wingers that we have here with Cherney and certainly with Tondo, he certainly isn't the kind of winger or inside forward, however you want to describe him, that's going to sit there and hold the ball up for anyone. He may do, and I may be completely wrong, but for me, he's purely a player who loves to just drive at the defence. If he gets that ball, there's only one place he's going, and that's here. So to that end, I think the role of the wing back, certainly in this case with Yilmaz, is if he is ever going to go around and look for the overlap, it's purely to take that kind of defender away from Matondo, leave those one-on-one situations. And I think that's kind of the 4-2-3-1 kind of style. You use kind of the wing backs as deception at times. I have seen him in highlights kind of hovering around here as well, just kind of offering that support, which, you know, the duties that he's doing now, performing. So, like I say, less aggressive, I think, than Tavernier, but like I say, very much an important role to play. I didn't, like I say, put on look for the overlap because I didn't want Matondo holding the ball up for him, and I certainly don't really think that happens, or from what I've seen, it doesn't happen very often. So we're moving into midfield, and I think there's probably things where things change. Probably not the most dynamic area, I think, in the Rangers formation. I think, for me, they're here for support. I do believe that maybe interchangeable. One may be more dynamic while the other one stays back a little bit more, and vice versa. Certainly with kind of changes in, I think it's, I know Diamandi kind of some operates in this midfield as well. Probably replacing Sterling, so Diamandi would probably be a bit more dynamic, where I think, is it Barron sometimes drops in as well. So he'd be more, I think, the defensive side. So that's the way I see it, certainly in a 4-2-3-1. You do tend to have that somebody who's kind of more forward, supporting the attacking phase, and maybe he's one who's holding back, supporting the back line, being that kind of, you know, help the defence out, basically. So like I say, that's how I see it. Yeah, so in this case, I've gone for Sterling as a ball-winning midfielder. On support, though, so a little bit more aggressive, I suppose. Maybe in Europe, I should have maybe used it, if I was managing this, I'd maybe drop him back, a bit more defensive. Raskin, I've gone for a deep line playmaker. Could easily be maybe he's a volunteer in this position with, I don't know, maybe someone who's, like I say, a little bit more dynamic, like Dimondia, maybe, if you want to be like a bit more creative, a bit more aggressive in midfield. I've gone for deep line playmaker, just quite simple. Still supporting, still kind of getting higher up than maybe on defensive duty. Still kind of obviously, say, picking up them balls when needed, supporting the wing backs, being there for the inverted wingers as well, to maybe lay it off to them, progressive passing. But for me, I think these guys here are pretty much outlets for the wing backs if they need someone to play the ball to. Certainly to help repel any counter-attacks from the opposition, to be there to close players down, act as that kind of barrier in defence. I think when Rangers are in full attack, you sometimes see kind of almost like a 2-2-6 formation, really. You know, you got your kind of wing backs up here, high up the pitch, inverted wingers are cutting in, attack midfielders running at the box. So you're basically left with kind of a 2-2 at the back. Sometimes could be the undoing at times, exposing their wings, but having this kind of setup here, and like you say, the ability to close kind of players down quickly, certainly kind of Sterling with that kind of speed. I'm guessing that's maybe what he does. Like you say, I haven't watched kind of many highlights. I only had a short period of time to get to know Rangers a little bit better. So that's the kind of way I see it. Maybe that's the way I see it playing out. These probably are the two I'm not overly familiar with, the midfield side of things. But that's how I imagine it plays out. So, ball winning midfielder, take fewer risks, dribble less, shoot less often. See, a bit of weight for Sterling. He's kind of somewhere in between. I think of a kind of a ball winning midfielder, and looks like he can obviously play out on the right as a kind of a wing back or a full back. So it's very difficult to kind of gauge where he kind of fits. But I know he has dropped in that midfield role a few times. Like say, with that tackling and that speed, he's going to get the players quickly, and hopefully, like you say, close down people super fast, get that ball back, and then recycle possession. Gaskin on deep line playmaker, simply on tackle harder, shoot less often, take more risks, hold position. Very, very simple. So moving on to the kind of the front three. So I'll start with the wide men. Yeah, I saw you start with the Matondo as well. So for me, Matondo, I know he's had kind of spells on the right hand side as well as a kind of more of a winger. Here I've seen him a lot more as a kind of like inside forward, inverted winger type. There's a lot more often now. When I've seen him, he seems to sit quite narrow in these channels. Not always, obviously, but like I say, a lot of the time I do see him. He is kind of in and around here, ready to kind of pick up that ball and just like you say, drive into that defence. Very direct player, very kind of tricky, absolute handful by the looks of it. So I chose take more risks for him, sit narrower, close down more, and tackle harder. The idea being with tackle harder, again, probably think more of the defensive side. I think a lot of the kind of pressure comes from these guys up front here, these four. Danilo seems to be putting pressure on the centre backs and the goalkeeper. Your wide men, inverted wingers, putting kind of pressure on the kind of wing backs, things like that. So like you say, Lawrence as well, putting pressure on. Like you say, when they are playing that kind of aggressive high line, putting pressure on the kind of centre backs, force them into mistakes, turn that ball over, and they got to launch a counter attack. And like you say, I think when they kind of these guys are putting pressure on kind of the wing backs, if they do, the opposition do kind of get around the press, you know, you've got your wing backs here come up here to then back them up, and then failing that, obviously, so you've got your two DMs as well to then close them down and hopefully kind of win that ball back. And I think we saw that in our kind of tester there, where we kind of win the ball a lot in this area here. Like, see, if they were beating that press, then they're probably getting picked up by these guys here. So it worked really well. So yeah, that's Matondo, inverted winger. You see, very aggressive, diving in that box. I've seen so many highlights. Like you see, he looks proper handful. Yeah, great to watch. Again, Cherney on the other side here, exactly the same, inverted winger on this time on attack. Sorry, as well on attack. Definitely getting made for that role as well. Shoot less often, close down more, and tackle harder. Exactly the same. I know lately, I don't know if Cherney's injured at all in kind of real life, but I have seen, if I can find him, McCausland as well in this position. And I think when McCausland plays, he probably is more of an out-and-out winger, natural right foot. Like I say, given that kind of different option. Again, still very aggressive, still seems to cut in a little bit more, but in that more of a kind of a winger role. So again, kind of Lawrence in this kind of attacking midfielder role. Take more risks, close down more, tackle harder. Very, very simple. And again, just being another aggressive player in the box, kind of getting in there, causing problems, just doing attacking midfielder things, to be quite honest with you. And then, quite simply, to finish off, an advance forward on attack. In this case, it's Danilo. I know at times it is also Desses as well. That kind of plays up front as well. Say, again, very simple, just tackle harder. So that's the tactic then. Like I say, very simple, very kind of aggressive, but as you can see, defensively sound, which I think comes with kind of playing this league. Didn't do too bad in Europe either. Like I say, I think with a bit of in-game management, you could make this probably be kind of a European winning tactic, in a couple of seasons, I think. Like I say, I mean, on another note, I think Tactic-wise as well, I mentioned kind of Ross County. I think they beat them 6-0. For me, like you say, you do sometimes see this kind of, it turns into more of a 4-4-2. This case, these maybe to push up a little bit higher, maybe even sit in that kind of position anyway. Like I say, like the team to work against Ross County, everyone was a little bit further back. Inviting them into almost like a mid-block. And like I say, each time I saw, they sat quite deep, won the ball back, and just launched kind of blister and counter-attack. So maybe something you can try. I know I mentioned last tactic I've done, I think sorted out SI released a little snippet of maybe a thing of things to come from FM24 where you can do in possession, out possession rules for players, which I'm really excited about. Certainly give a lot more dimension to these tactics that I'm doing. So let me know what you think. Like I say, I've only had a few days on this. I'm going to pick up a few little bits. I can't watch extensive highlights or matches. I just haven't got the time, to be perfectly honest. So I'll try and get what information I can. Watch highlights that I can, and then create a tactic that I think best represents Rangers. So if you're a Rangers fan, let me know what you think in the comments. What have I got right? What have I got massively wrong? How would you do it? How would you see it as a fan? Certainly that midfield area. Let me know a little bit more about that, how that works, the dynamic of it. And like I say, please get involved, get down in the comments. A lot of you are already. And like I say, what I'll do is I'll leave you with a few highlights of how this played in game, just to kind of give you an idea. Like I say, does Matondo score his goals by driving at the defence, like I ask? Does Tavernier get really aggressive and take lots of shots, from outside the box? So, like I say, well, I'll leave you with that. Please, if you can, drop a like, subscribe as well. It would be fantastic. And that's it for me. Bye for now.